Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about the dissolution of Destiny and Melina's open marriage. If you don't know who they are, I'm not going to go through the trouble of telling you all the lore. You can do that on your own, but I don't like to gossip and I don't like to drag people unnecessarily. However, I think that this particular instance can be educational for other people. So I'm going to talk about it, hopefully, to try to provide some educational commentary for people. And also, I don't feel as bad because, number one, Destiny and his wife put this information out there. Like, they put their relationship out to the public to be consumed because they are streamers, they're influencers, and they make money doing that. So they made that choice, and they talk about their relationship being open. They've bragged about that. So we're going to play some clips, and then I'm going to show you guys how this came about, because it's actually really interesting. And yeah, okay, so first let's just bring up this picture, which I think speaks for itself. This is a sorry. This is a screenshot from one of Destiny's streams while his wife was dancing with another man in the background, and just kind of look at the look on his face. I mean, I feel guilty and I feel bad laughing at this because he looks so sad. And so, but like, come on, guys, this picture says a lot. And then we have this screenshot also from another stream he did with Nick Fuentes. And once again, his wife is seemingly more interested in another man, you know? And I mean, my goodness, the Mexican catboy of all people, she's more interested in him than you. Oof, that's tough. But so, like, these are things that had been indicators that maybe not everything was great in this relationship, despite what they both would say publicly. I mean, look at the body language here. She is not even looking his way. She's maintaining that eye contact with the Catboy Führer, and Destiny is just very, like, hunched over, head down, looking very, very sad. Now, we'll move on to some clips here that I'm gonna play.
Like, the way that she married you is like
All right, so this is Gavin McInnis, and he is discussing with Destiny. He's basically kind of predicting what's happening.
alien. Like, she's like, oh, good, easy prey. And she's eating you right now.
Okay.
The only way you can save this marriage, this relationship,
Good chance.
is to
Wait, hold on,
is
James.
to
We're getting to
start
the most important part.
drawing the line and saying, no, I'm in control now, bitch.
Okay.
So,
Like, the way that she married you is like alien. Like,
so he's talking about the movie Alien, but what he's saying here is that how they met, apparently, is she was dating another man, and then I believe cheated on that individual with Destiny, and then they got together. So I think he may be saying, like, how you got into this relationship with this woman is maybe how this relationship will end, where she does the same thing to you that she did with you to the other person she was with before, if that makes sense. And so he's saying, though, and this will be important later when we get to what Destiny has said about the dissolution of his open marriage. Gavin is telling him the only way you could save your marriage is to start enforcing boundaries. That's what he's saying here. And I believe Destiny and his wife got married in 2021. It's 2023 now, so it hasn't been a super long time. That relationship didn't last long, and many people predicted the outcome. Like, it was predictable. And again, the boundaries thing.
She's like, oh, good, easy prey. And she's eating you right now.
Okay.
The only way you can save this
Look at
marriage,
the denial and the coping too.
this relationship,
Good chance.
is to
Wait, hold on,
is
James.
to
We're getting to
start
the most important part.
drawing the line and saying, no,
Start drawing the line, saying no. So enforcing boundaries.
I'm in control now, bitch.
Saying I'm in control, you know? Now we'll move on to a clip about Melina talking about divorce.
This is a pretty common comment that I've been getting on my videos about divorce.
That's a valid point. Unfortunately for her,
Okay, so this comment, it says that's a valid point. Unfortunately for her argument, 80% of the time, she's the one to initiate divorce. So this was a comment on a video she had made discussing divorce, where presumably a man is saying that 80% of the time it will be women that will initiate divorces.
argument, 80% of the time she's the one to initiate the divorce. Let's do this. If he leaves, he gives you half. If she leaves, she gets nothing.
The reason why it's a lot more common for women to file divorce is because they have to, because they need child support if they are going to take care of the family alone. Even if the guy broke up, he's not gonna file for divorce because he doesn't need it. Why would a guy go through all of that if he doesn't need it, if it doesn't benefit him whatsoever? Of course. This is a pretty...
Okay, it's pretty, like, she doesn't say anything of substance here. If she is, can somebody please tell me what it is? It just seems like it was self-explanatory to the comment she was responding to. Now, this is a clip of her talking about how she got into open relationships.
You said that you've been in open relationships since high school. All of your relationships have been open?
have been open, yeah.
Why?
So, okay. Went to high school, fell in love with a guy. He had a lot of like commitment problems and didn't really want to like date around. So, and I knew that he was seeing other people. So I kind of like just had to like learn how to deal with it a little bit.
So wait, hold on. Did you want that relationship, that first relationship?
I wanted that relationship really badly.
Did you want it to be just you and him? If you had been able to make that decision?
I don't think it really came to my mind. It was
Yes, it did, though, and she'll say that later on. That is what she wanted.
just more like I just want him. That's it.
Okay.
And then I met another person, or had someone in my class that said that he was doing a polyamorous relationship, and I was like, what is that? And then he explained like, oh, so I'm dating like 2 people at the same time, and my partner is, or one of them is dating multiple people too, and that's just how it is. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. Why would you have to? I've never heard that before. Mm-hmm. So it felt more like, oh yeah, I think that's me.
You said that you've been.
Okay, so she's explaining that she's always been this way, basically. She, since she was in high school, has been in these open relationships, but that's not the case for her husband, Destiny. From what I understand, he indicated he had never done that, but that's what she wanted, and so he said that he was okay with it.
If I was a girl and like the second.
This is a clip from an interview that Melina did, and she's being asked a question by this guy about what she's comfortable with her quote unquote husband doing. Just listen for yourself.
If I was a girl and like the second I saw my man put his mouth on a, I'd be like, all right, we're breaking up, we're done. I can't. How this is not possible? Like, that feel like it's kind of emasculating.
Yeah, that's so gross. That's what a normal person, I think, would say.
Do you not feel that way?
No.
Like if he does that? No. So you're like, hey, that was great. I love too. It's
She doesn't feel that that's weird.
I don't think I have an opinion. I don't think I have a special feeling about it.
How is that possible?
Which one do you get affected by more? Is it when he's with another girl? Or a guy?
Yes. Great
Which
question.
one? Which reaction do you have, like a bad or worse reaction?
So I would say just because he spends more time with women, obviously, and then if it is the case that I feel unhappy with the time that he spent with me or something like that, and he spends like an entire week with some girl, it's kind of like then he's done that. Usually when there's guys, it's like a 20-minute thing, and then he like leaves. From what I know, it's like a
I think the thing with girls, she'll feel a little differently about girls.
It's not really about sex. It's more about I feel like maybe like the time investment, because time is so precious to you.
If I wasn't.
So that was her response. Again, it's just like a bunch of nonsense talk. Now, this is another clip.
God forbid this happen.
This is a show called, I think, the Whatever Podcast, and they were confronted about their quote-unquote open marriage on this podcast. And I actually think that this was not that long ago. In fact, this may be from 6 months ago. So maybe even 6 months to the day.
Will it be fun if this open relationship ends up causing things to fall apart down the line if one of you guys finds yourself in an entanglement, so to speak, with with somebody who you might find a deeper connection with than the other person? Like if that causes the relationship to fall apart, that probably wouldn't be very fun.
No, it would be horrible, and it would be sad.
Do you guys have a high degree of confidence that your marriage will last for decades?
I mean, I married her without a prenup, so I fucking hope so. Okay, or else this motherfucker's gonna be.
My wife fucks other guys.
Oof, it's tough. So he just said right there he married her without a prenup. They anticipated just 6 months ago being together for decades or forever. I wonder how much he's gonna end up having to pay her. Now, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say, but presumably, I mean, they were married for 2 years. I do think she was able to get the green card, so I think she should be able to keep that after 2 years. And then I know he, from what I understand, has millions of dollars, so yeah, maybe he's gonna have to pay her alimony for a certain number of years. Now, here's a clip of them from what I think was early into their relationship. And it's just very illustrative of the dynamic between the two of them. So here he is, like, looking like a loser. Like no offense or anything. Like, I don't like to disparage people's appearances, but I mean, he does not look like he has bathed or washed his hair in quite some time, maybe a number of days, and he's looking very hunched over, slumped down, shoulders kind of hang in there, and he just doesn't look very energetic. Yeah, he just looks like a depressed individual, and she's kind of looking at him, smiling, kind of almost laughing at him in a way.
You get paid. Here, look at my chat. You never look at my chat.
Because he's kind of, he's sort of acting like she treats him kind of like how a mom would treat like their petulant child, or like how they would try to like entertain their child or something. I don't know. I get those vibes from this.
Always look at your chat. Interact with us. Remember we talked about this? Okay. I interact with your world the more when you don't interact.
Hey Melina, who's the homeless man bothering you? Nice.
So she was saying, interact with my chat. I'm always watching your chat. We talked about this. So she's kind of like, you know, you could tell she's sort of the more dominant one in the relationship. That's sort of how it seems. And she's kind of telling him what to do. And so he goes and looks in the chat, and the first comment he reads is, "Who's the homeless man sitting next to you?" Oof, like that's tough, you know? Oh my goodness, if someone's saying that about what you, yeah, about what you look like as a couple. It's basically saying that the person sees that that Destiny is not in Melina's league, I guess, or that's the perception. Now, Lex Fredman is a very strange person. I really don't like him. But he has a podcast show where he interviews people. He's not interesting at all. He's really boring. I don't know why people go and talk to him, but they do, I guess. This is a thing, apparently. So we all have to be subjected to it because they're going to talk about their quote-unquote open marriage or whatever. And I think that it's important for people to hear it from them, what they think it is, because I want to show people and to explain, like, the purpose of this isn't just to laugh at them, but we are laughing. The purpose is to explain to people that there is no such thing as an open marriage. A marriage is supposed to be sacred vows that you're taking, a lifelong commitment, and what they have is an arrangement. I don't know why these people need to get married, and perhaps for them it literally was just to get her a green card. Otherwise, what's the point in getting married if you're going to be in a quote-unquote open relationship? That's not a marriage. It's an arrangement.
Interesting aspect of your relationship is you're in an open relationship. What's that like? From a game theoretic simulation perspective, what went into that calculation?
I don't think anything went into it. Certainly nothing like game theory simulation calculations. Like, no, it's just greed and ignorance, in my opinion.
And like, how does that?
Greed and foolishness.
Like how that started, or
Yeah, how did that start? Sure.
The only relationships I've ever done has been open relationships since I was like in high school, because I didn't really understand like why wouldn't you be able to like do other things with other people, but then just like have your main partner basically.
So what is an open relationship, generally speaking? That means you have one main partner?
Not a monogamous relationship. Like you're somehow allowed like in different ways.
So it's like not a relationship then. You're just two people that have an arrangement with each other. This isn't a real relationship. You're not really committed to each other. You're just doing what you want, both of you. It's like, do what thou will, right?
You can see other people sexually.
But like there's one main
Yeah, or it doesn't have
station.
to be there for some people, but like I
Okay.
think it's probably easier, and we probably don't really have time or the energy for like more than like one person to like really like.
What about like
And I've noticed that when they talk about it, it does kind of seem to be that she talks more about it and he just kind of sits there looking almost like he's seething internally, but he's pretending to be perfectly fine with this. And I wonder if he was in so much denial and was in such simp mode in the beginning that he convinced himself he was okay with it for a while. And then over time, it began to slowly build and build and build. The resentment, the anger. It seems like that may be what happened.
emotional?
It's really complicated. There's a lot of complicated stuff going on under the hood there.
Not really.
I think broadly speaking, you've got like polyamorous relationships and you've got like open relationships, where polyamorous is like, oh, I've got like 3 different girlfriends and we all hang out or sometimes even live together, or 3 boyfriends, whatever. And then you've got like open relationships, which is like, oh, you know, like you can basically hook up with other people, and then you've got like your main relationship and that's it. I think ours is probably somewhere in the middle, of that, to where like we've got like long-term friends, some of them we hook up with, and that's kind of how it's a delicate dance that explodes every 6 months on itself. in a way.
And so she starts laughing. He says that it's a delicate dance that explodes on itself every 6 months. She starts laughing because she knows that's true. So what he's saying is that this isn't like a real relationship, and it obviously doesn't work because every few months they're fighting about it. So obviously one of them isn't okay with it, or for whatever reason, it obviously this doesn't work, but you know.
Well, you guys fight over it?
We fight over some things, yeah. Things happen, yeah.
I think it's mostly because a lot of people can't handle it, and they agree to something, and then they realize that we're way too cool, and then they get really obsessed, and they think that they can like get in there, and then it gets really dramatic.
Have you figured it out? Like, it seems like a
I
complicated
feel
dance.
like we figure out things more and more, like when it comes to like what's a good person for us to hang out and what's not a good person for
Well, apparently that's not true.
us to hang out with, or like I probably have more opinions on like who he hangs out with because he likes the fucking psychos.
So look at the look on his face here. Look at his body language as she says he likes the effing psychos. I think she's talking about maybe somebody in particular, and he knows exactly what she's talking about. And look at the look on his face.
Yeah, so you like to surround.
He likes the crazy ones, like the baby trap sort of women.
What is that? Can somebody let me know in the chat what is a baby trap? Because it sounds so like really gross, and it sounds like a PEDO thing, and if it is, that's disgusting and shame on him.
That's the ones, and I don't like that because that affects me.
Okay, so obviously that was an uncomfortable thing. That didn't look like a comfortable little thing that just went down there. He looked uncomfortable as she was saying it, and she's laughing, but you can tell that that is something she's mad about.
Affects your game theoretic calculation.
Obviously, yeah.
Right. You like to surround yourself, like in general, you've talked about, with crazy people.
I say crazy, and I really shouldn't.
It's a humorous way.
It's like, yeah,
They're
it's
very unstable.
Can be unstable.
Yeah.
But people that are
And then she says unstable. They're very unstable. Who are these people? Who's she talking about? The other streamers he hangs out with?
very unique. Like when I
They're
meet this
very
person,
unique.
that's like
Not boring.
Yeah, not boring. Yeah.
And you said that you're progressively becoming not boring yourself.
No, I think I'm pretty stable. I don't let them affect me much, but
So you
Did you see the look on her face as he said that?
don't think they affect your
no. If I've said that, I've said it jokingly. I think I've got my stuff like really well figured out. It's what allows me to engage with people like this so easily because I can engage, I can make them feel seen and heard, and then if it gets insane, I can cut off and I can be chill. Like very few things affect me in the long term.
Oh, okay. That's a little sociopathic, isn't it? And she kind of looks a little resentful of him, doesn't she? She doesn't look happy, and neither does he. In fact, they both look like they don't really want to be here, but they're doing it because it gives them influence and attention, but it doesn't seem like they're particularly happy about being there with each other.
Do you guys experience jealousy?
Usually, like whenever I feel like he's not spending the amount of time that I'm asking for, and he spends it on his video games or his stream, or like he sees someone else like more than he sees me or something like that, that would like not be good because then it affects like our relationship.
Do you have
Yeah, because you don't have one. That's what he doesn't value you. He's not spending time with you. He's doing all these other things.
a good sense of
And she obviously doesn't like that. She wants somebody that's going to be showering her with attention and validation, it seems.
like, is it literally time or is it the energy put into the?
It's probably like if he's with me, that like the attention in the time, like when he hangs out with me, and then there's also probably the time. So if I feel like something else is distracting too much, like it could be work or it could be a friend or it could be anything. Like if I feel like it starts to take away from like me, then I'm having an issue with it. I don't think he really cares much. I guess the only jealousy you experience is probably when you feel like if I get upset about him seeing someone too much and then I go see someone more, and then he's like, why can't I go see my friend more, like as much as you? So like that's the sort of like thing.
Oh my goodness. See, again, you could see the cracks here. There is no relationship here. There is jealousy. It doesn't work. They're constantly trying to mess with each other, and it just sounds horrible and toxic.
That we're trying to navigate on, I guess.
Trying to navigate on. So yeah, let's bring them on to this podcast and have them telling lots of people what you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
But like, for him to act like he's anybody to speak with authority on anything, this is a 35-year-old man, and he's acting like they're both acting like teenagers. Like, what are you guys, 18? How old are you? This doesn't get old. This behavior, acting like teenagers.
we are like diametrically opposed sometimes in terms of how we view like engagement with people or engagement with the world sometimes. So like on her end of the spectrum, like a perfect week for her might be like being in a cabin, watching like fireflies at night, going hiking every morning, going swimming at the beach, because it's like you're taking in like the grandeur of nature. You're like connected with yourself. You're like very at peace. Everything is like chill and cool. There's the wind, the feeling of nature, everything. That's like her peak living experience.
I like being present.
Yeah.
Just, like,
and like my
enjoy the
peak experiences are like people trying to destroy my life, like the challenge of like navigating a really complicated discussion. Like
the challenges of having complicated discussions. You're a streamer and a debater. Like, you just argue and talk crap with other streamers on the internet. It's like not that complicated, actually. It's not that difficult. You're not an accountant. You're not some CPA, like doing something difficult or tedious, time-consuming, laborious. You're literally just sitting there in your home with a camera on, talking, and half the time it doesn't even look like he showers or does show prep or anything at all.
You know, several different dramatic events unfolding that might end my career. Like, these things are like I like the stress and the action and the entertainment and everything's like very cool for me. So when we're together,
So he
she generally
needs
wants
to
me.
constantly be distracted, and they both have. She's talked about this too. This hatred of quote unquote being bored, because the two of them apparently can't just be alone with their thoughts. Maybe she can more. She talked about wanting to be more present and liking nature and stuff, but it just kind of seems like he needs to have constant drama, constant distractions, always under pressure, always something to do. It's like all artificially created, so he can feel like, I don't know, he's in this position where he can make millions of dollars but still feel like he's an embattled underdog or something.
To be like more chill, but if I don't feel like I'm being like stimulated a lot, then it's easy for like my mind to wander, or
To
like I'm
wander
on my
somewhere
phone,
else, or
yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of the issue. We have a very different way of like engaging with the
So how can you find happiness in the stillness?
I feel like if we're just like aware of it and we're trying our best, like whenever we're supposed to do this one thing. So let's say that we want to go to New York and I'm like, we should just like go out and do this one specific thing. We try to find something that he enjoys doing. Like now that we're in Texas, we can go shooting or do something fun that he enjoys, then we can do it. And then I think like, just like for me also to be aware that like when he spends lots of time on crazy people, it's not because he like loves them or wants to be with them. It's just because he likes being like having his life destroyed.
He just likes having his life destroyed. I'm sorry, but maybe she was right. And just look at the body language here, guys. He's just like, yes, apparently he does just love having his life destroyed.
Like you said, which I don't really do. It's a completely different thing. So like for me to like understand more like how he's thinking.
But then he says he's perfectly stable.
Because it's so different from mine. And for him to understand how I'm thinking about things and like what I prioritize in my life, I think that's like how we navigate. But I think it's good. I think the differences can be good. Like when we're finding a way. Yeah.
Well, I think you're relatable.
More of a human.
No, I'm
You're
definitely
an AI.
very difficult to get along with. Like I always tell people that like if you're dating me for like more than a few years, like you get like an award.
It's like
for
a
that.
war zone that you've survived.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're like a veteran. You get medals and stuff.
And it's always like, I think there's probably been like 6 different, I don't think she says it anymore, but there are like 6 different times in our relationship where she's like, is it always like this? Is this actually real?
Yeah.
And like every next
Wow, that's very telling.
Lied in the beginning about like you were lying about that.
Ooh, and he lied in the beginning, she says. Ooh.
well, it got more.
You were not. You were like, nah. It's just like right now I'm having a huge argument online about saying the N-word in private. And it's just gonna be
of course
like this, and I'm gonna be streaming 24 hours a day.
It's just, there's
And
a
I'm
lot
like,
of-
we're like, when are you gonna go to bed? It's been a week.
Yeah.
What is this?
Did playing League come into this?
A little bit, but
Oh yeah.
So he acts like a man-child, and she thought that he was just going through a hard time, I guess, or that's what he told her, but he's always like this, and I guess she didn't know that that was going to be a thing. So anyways, it all speaks for itself, as I said. I'll move on, though. We're going to go to some of the reactions to this. Trouble in Paradise. Destiny reveals he had to have a 5-hour-long therapy session with his wife recently due to his personal life getting quote-unquote too crazy. This comes only a few weeks after his ex-partner, Cherry. Okay, we don't need to hear about that.
Illegal? I don't know why she's saying it's illegal.
Okay, hang on.
Does she think 5-hour therapy is legal? Illegal? I don't know why she's saying it's illegal. What? I had issues that I needed to have resolved like pretty quickly because shit was getting a little bit out of control in my personal life, and I said, hey, we should have a really long session to talk about this and like lay everything out and do everything, and we can't do it like an hour or two. And obviously Melina's like in and out of the country, so I requested that we do a real long therapy session. Melina consented to it, the therapist consented to it, and we had a pretty long therapy session.
So they had a 5-hour-long therapy session that he wanted because he was going through a hard time. Like, it just sounds, I'm sorry, but I don't know what kind of woman would be interested in a man that needs to have a 5-hour-long therapy session. Like, what? It's like so weird. None of this is surprising to me. Streaming couple Destiny and Melina are going to divorce. Melina has done things with a man who Destiny views as toxic and dangerous. He revealed on stream he attended a 5-hour-long therapy cope session because of it. It's important to know that their relationship was an open relationship. Destiny has unfollowed Melina and vice versa. All photos of them together have been deleted from their social media. People are speculating about what happened. What could possibly have gone wrong in this obviously perfectly happy and stable relationship. Okay, so trouble started for them last year when they tried to seduce Nick Fuentes. While unsuccessful, this spurred feelings inside of Melina, a hunger for toxic abuse. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe just a man who actually acts like a man. I have no idea. But as you'll see, I mean, the individual who I guess she supposedly left Destiny for is certainly not masculine. He actually looks like a twink himself, which is very disturbing. But this apparently comes from Destiny's Discord server, where way too many people have parasocial relationships with him and apparently follow what he does, and they post about it on Reddit and keep track of it. So somebody capped this. And this is him, you know, he's coping in his Discord server with his friends. He says, I'll have a small convo when I'm back about things. I'm not gonna quote unquote nuke Melina or anything, but the last 2 months and 2 weeks have been a massive mind F for me. Watching her become obsessed with a toxic / abusive guy. When I visited Sweden last, he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me and then threatened to yeet himself when she didn't do it. Among 20 other abusive / manipulative things he's done, and endlessly make excuses for him, so I'm out. And then he replies further and says, anyway, have fun with movies for 3 days. Good luck. See you on the 9th or 10th. Then I guess this continues. He says, Josh, yeah, me discovering boundaries was the death knell in this relationship. Me discovering boundaries. So again, this is a 35-year-old man. Why is he just discovering boundaries now? And as we showed in the clip, as we played, Gavin McInnis tried to give this man advice. He tried to tell him how he could save his relationship by developing and enforcing boundaries. And he was just like, you know, being smug about it. Like, yeah, okay, as if, you know, he's above everything and he knows better and everything's perfectly fine. He continues, this proves every point I've ever made. Girls can leave you for jobless, manipulative losers if they just play their cards right. And I think that was supposed to be a frown face, but it's an upside down smiley face, I guess. He says, yeah, I wanted a massive therapy session to see if I could express myself better and iron out some boundaries, but it's hard for me to ask for anything if I've been a pushover for so many years. So he admits he's been a pushover for many years. You could tell this was all stuff that I think everybody on the outside could see looking in, and this was, in fact, easy to predict. And so it's interesting that maybe Destiny has learned from the experience, probably not, but maybe he has learned that he's not okay with these things, and that what he thought was a good idea wasn't a good idea. And all of the advice of other people, where other people tried to explain to him why this wasn't going to work, and he smugly and arrogantly dismissed it. Maybe he's learned a lesson here. Hopefully that's what's happened. And again, just the body language of this, it just makes me laugh every time I see it. Let's see. What else? So this was what we just read. It's confirmed they're getting a divorce. Minkus says, this is ironic. Destiny cheated multiple times, chases 20-year-old bipolar girls with the most toxic dynamics ever. He also got mad because Melina wouldn't sleep with a random guy so he could go have fun himself. Destiny acting like he isn't toxic or manipulative is wild. Well, yes, some people can convince themselves of anything, and some people do not self-reflect. So it's not that surprising. Cosmic says, I see a lot of people crapping on Destiny because he was in a quote-unquote polyamorous marriage and is getting a divorce, blaming him for Melina divorcing him. But am I wrong to read "so I'm out" as him initiating the divorce? I don't see this as a reaping what you've sowed situation. So he's saying, and he's pointing out, that there are people who are making fun of Destiny and saying, oh, this proves that everything he has said about the so-called red pill stuff is incorrect or whatever. They're kind of, making fun of him and saying that, like, his wife is leaving him for this, like, loser or whatever. But he is saying that it looks like, from what Destiny said, that he was the one that initiated the divorce, saying he's out because he finally, after, how many years they've been married, since 2021, he has finally developed boundaries. Okay, so yeah. I think we read all of this. There may be some other things in here. He says Mel just wants validation. I did want to read this stuff because it's so ridiculous. So he's talking to someone named YPP, and he says Mel just wants validation, and this guy is willing to do anything for her 24/7. He has no job and no life. Everything revolves around her. He changes his sleep schedule when he travels to talk to her constantly. So this guy's doing things for her. He's like, being more of a cuck for her than I guess even Destiny is willing to do, because Destiny, as much of a clown and pushover as he is, he's not willing, apparently, to give his wife the validation she wants, the 24/7 attention. He's not fawning over her. He's not, his life doesn't revolve around her. He's not changing his sleep schedule so he could talk to her. And apparently she thinks that's what she wants. He says, I'll touch on that a little, but yeah, the boundaries and everything in my relationship are absolutely insane, but I never complained publicly because I didn't want to make Melina look bad. So and you could tell, like I said, in some of those clips, it's mostly her talking about it, and he does look kind of uncomfortable. He says, I'm fine. This is the last toxic holdover I have from my past. So from here, it's all good for me. That's obviously not true. He says, no, I didn't want to complain because I don't want to make my wife look bad because we're supposed to be a married team, but she has had no problem dumping on me to literally dozens and dozens of people over the past years. So funny, people saying another Bob, not realizing there were like 50 Bob Sevens. I don't know what he's talking about or what that's a reference to. But he's saying that he never talked about these issues publicly. He didn't want to disparage her. He didn't want to make her look bad. But he's saying, though, that behind the scenes, privately, she was dumping on all these people about her problems with him and the relationship. So she was not giving him the same, I guess, respect or discretion that he was giving her. And she's airing this this laundry, but he knew this was going on. That's the other thing. He's obviously been aware that that's been going on, and he was letting her do it. That's the other thing. when you, like he's saying, you let somebody walk all over you. Well, after several years, you can't just change it and say, now I'm going to have boundaries. And now you can't do all these things that I let you do for years. Like, obviously, that's not going to work. I mean, unless you can pull it off, but I think that might be rare. He says, the problem isn't the person being manipulative. The problem is the difference in how we treat our spouse. So he's saying that's the issue. No, the entire thing is the issue. He says, if girls want to get close to me, historically, they know the only way they could ever do it was sometimes by exaggerating how much they liked Melina, because crapping on my wife or attacking my wife gets you instantly cut out of my life. He says, but for Melina, the way to get closer to her was always crapping on me, because she loved the emotional validation of people making her feel like every problem she had was my fault. So what he's talking about is, while they're married, when he's saying that if people want to get close to him or something, he does not allow people to disparage her or to say anything bad. And if they do, he immediately cuts them out. But she's not doing that. People are crapping on him and she's enjoying it, basically, because it's like validating all of her complaints. That's what he's saying. And so he's saying that's the problem, he thinks, is that they just are different in that way. But it's like, well, so yeah, the problem was thinking that this was a marriage. He says, because I had a toxic problem with blaming myself for every problem ever in any of my relationships ever, so I figured if something was wrong, it was always on me to fix it. They seemed okay because 3 days ago, before Mel was supposed to leave forever, this guy did something else insanely toxic and horrible. Then Mel kind of warmed up to what I was asking for. Then in a day, she forgave everything again and is now back in it. I told her that of all her crap needs to be gone before I'm back on the 9th. So he told his wife she has to get all of her stuff out of the home. He says, a good troll is me spending 5 days off stream, death spiraling. Absolutely epic. Okay, that sounds sad. They've unfollowed each other. They've removed their pictures from social media. So I guess this is serious. I know some people have speculated that they could be just doing this for attention, you know, to get it in the news, to become relevant. I don't necessarily know that that's true. I actually believe that this is just exactly what it seems to be. Streamer Destiny reportedly getting a divorce after flaunting open marriage. I'm not going to dox him. We'll just call him Destiny and his wife, you know, who never took his last name, another indication of things. Yeah, so that has happened, of course. And he has lots of people that follow him. He has been very vocal about the relationship, and I think that's why it's okay to talk about it and to cover it. And let's be honest, guys. Let's be real. If this is really the person that she's leaving Destiny for, to say to this, it looks like a woman. Like he looks like a feminine, I don't even know, like, this is just bizarre. If this is real, does anyone know? Can we confirm, is this really real? Is it really this person? Or is this, because that guy does not even seem like he'd want to be in a relationship with a woman. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah, I don't think that it's bait. I think that this is happening. And I think it's just, it wasn't surprising. It was pretty obvious. And the message here, the lesson that can be learned is there is no such thing as an open marriage. If you want to have that kind of weird arrangement, then why get married? And I wonder how much this is going to cost him and if he's learned anything from it. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this, though. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Whee!